Hey YouTube, it's NowIAmNappy and I'm back for another Tip Tuesday. Now this week we are going to be talking about protein for our hair and how to make a DIY protein treatment. Now a lot of y'all have been asking me two main questions. The first question is, what is protein and why does my hair hate it? And when is my nephew gonna appear back in my YouTube videos?
Hi guys!
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and jump into why protein might not be the devil and why most people should be using protein regularly in their hair regimen.
Did you guys know that protein is technically a conditioner for your hair?
So two ways that protein can act as a conditioning agent is by softening the hair strand, reducing frizz and friction, and creating a smoother hair shaft. Additionally, protein can help fill in any gaps or holes on the hair shaft, helping you to retain moisture for longer.
So, why are so many people afraid of protein? And why do they think that they are protein sensitive?
Well, that's a good question. Well, for protein to be able to penetrate into your hair shaft, it has to be hydrolyzed. Now, hydrolyzed proteins are broken all the way down to small and can absorb all the way into your hair strand. And these hydrolyzed proteins actually come into three main sizes: large, medium, and small. Now, the size of the protein needed is dependent upon your hair porosity and density. Now, unfortunately, there is not a perfect formula like for low porosity, high porosity is this particular protein. Now, what I can do is provide the size of the proteins and how they can benefit your hair. All right, so let's talk about some of the sizes.
Large proteins include hydrolyzed wheat. Medium proteins can include hydrolyzed soy and oat. Small proteins can include hydrolyzed silk, keratin, and collagen. The larger proteins can create a foam-forming barrier that locks in moisture, while the smaller proteins can seep deeper into your hair shaft, allowing you to retain moisture longer.
So because we both have low porosity, fine to medium hair strands, we actually do well with larger to medium-sized proteins because they can coat the hair strand, providing and locking in that moisture. But also because our hair is fine, it can be a little bit porous, so those medium proteins can seep deep into our hair, giving us that strength and moisture that we desperately need. So for today, we're going to be using an oat hydrolyzed protein. And oat proteins, again, are in that medium to larger size proteins. They lock in that moisture, providing that coating barrier, making your hair feel silkier, shinier, thicker, and stronger. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to mixing.
Let's go!
So let's begin with our water phase. We'll be adding 156 grams of distilled water, followed up with 100 grams of rosewater. Now, rosewater has a lot of softening effects for the hair. Next, we'll be adding 16 grams of glycerin, which is a humectant, followed by 8 grams of panthenol. Now, y'all, I'll tell you a little bit more about panthenol later on. Now, gently blend with your immersion blender to dissolve the panthenol. Now, moving right along to our oil phase, we're going to go in with 32 grams of BTMS 50. Now, this is our conditioning emulsifier that binds the water and oil phase. We're moving right along to 20 grams of mango butter, followed up with 20 grams of shea butter. Now, these are our occlusive agents to help lock in moisture, you guys. Next up will be 8 grams of castor oil, followed up with 12 grams of sweet almond oil. Then lastly, we will use 8 grams of aloe butter. Now, aloe butter is just coconut oil infused with aloe, so you can alternate this with any type of oil you like: extra virgin olive oil, grapeseed oil, anything that will penetrate into your hair strand. Okay, now that we have our oil and water phase ready, we're going to set this on the stove in a double boiler method and let this heat up for about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, now that our mixture is nice and piping hot and the emulsifier has completely dissolved, let's go ahead and combine the two phases and then blend together. You notice how the mixture is already starting to thicken and get a little bit creamy. But we're going to set this off to the side to cool down. You could pop this in your fridge or an ice bath for about 20 to 30 minutes to bring it down into your cool down phase. Okay, once the mixture has cooled all the way down, we're going to go in with our cool down ingredients. We'll add 4 grams of preservative. I'm going to be using Optiphen Plus. So this is where we're going to add the hydrolyzed oat protein, and we're going to add 12 grams of the protein. And then we'll be using 4 grams of fragrance. I'm going to be using 2 grams of lemongrass and 2 grams of lavender oil. Okay, so we're going to blend one last time. Blend, blend, blend. Get this all nice mixed and emulsified. And then you guys, that's it. It's nice, creamy, very white. It smells really, really good. Okay, so now we're going to scoop this into a container, and this makes a little more than 12 ounces. And we're going to set this to the side and shampoo our hair and then get ready for use, okay? Okay, so we just shampooed our hair because every time you do a protein treatment, you always want to begin on shampooed hair so that it could bind to your hair better, okay, on clean hair. All right, so we're going to put the conditioner on him first, so let's go ahead and get started.
Yay! I'm so happy to do everything.
So I just want to address something before we move further on in this discussion, and that is about those who want to use caution when using protein treatments in their hair. Now, those who tend to have coarse hair strands are those with thicker hair strands, and they can use protein less frequently than those who have fine to medium strands. Those who have coarse strands lose protein much slower than the rest of us, and so for them, using protein treatments very frequently can actually make their hair more brittle, dry, and harsh. Also, again, we mentioned earlier that there are small proteins versus large proteins. And so if you're new to protein treatments, I recommend starting with some of the smaller proteins, such as the silk, keratin, or collagen, and then working your way up to larger proteins to see how your hair responds. Now, some signs that your hair needs protein is that it doesn't have a lot of spring or bounce into your hair. You notice that when you try to deep condition your hair, you find that the deep conditioner is not working as it used to. You also find that your hair is snapping off and breaking, or it's really dry and brittle, especially when you use oils and conditioners in it. All right, so now I'm going to do my hair. Remember, you want to focus this a lot on the ends of your hair because usually that is the oldest and the most porous part of your hair, okay?
Okay.
So I just wanted to also talk a little bit more about hydrolyzed oat protein since we are using this in our deep conditioner. So again, this hydrolyzed oat protein actually acts more like a humectant because it gives the hair a silky feeling. As we know, hydrolyzed oat protein is a medium to larger size protein, so it's going to actually coat your hair strand and not be as penetrative as something like silk protein. So it's better at forming a film over the hair and conditioning it than any of the other type of proteins. Again, the other new ingredient we mentioned is actually panthenol, and I'll probably do a full video on it, but I kind of want to give you guys a little taste of panthenol. We're using DL-panthenol, which is also known as provitamin B5, and panthenol is a humectant, so again, it helps to absorb water from the environment into your hair strand. So actually combining humectants with film-forming hydrolyzed proteins actually really helps to lock in that moisture so water does not escape from your hair. You're able to retain moisture for much, much longer. So this combination is really going to provide some moisture, hydration, and strength to our hair strands. Again, to wrap this up, some of the smaller proteins that can go into porous hair are hydrolyzed silk, keratin, and collagen. Also, we didn't talk too much about it, but also amino acids and peptides, and they can also seep into fine and medium hair. Those that are of the medium to large type are gelatin, soy, and some oat proteins, while some of the larger, and these are the film-forming proteins, are the oat, wheat, and quinoa. Okay, so feel free again to mix around with these to find a particular protein that works for your porosity and density. Okay, again, we are going to leave this in our hair for about 20-25 minutes. We're going to cover this with a plastic cap to make sure it absorbs into our hair properly and get all of these protein benefits, all right? So we'll come back on. Okay, so we just rinsed out your hair. I'm giving you firsthand. Tell me how your hair feels.
Okay.
Touch your hair, tell me.
It's softer than ever. It's way softer than the last time I was here. It's way softer than that. My hair, it feels so good. And even though I just dried it, I feel like I have to keep drying it because I feel like it's going to be wet for the rest of the night.
Okay.
But I think, I don't know. This is just, this feels amazing. Feels like a pillow, but like not like a pillow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I literally just rinsed out my conditioner, and y'all, my hair feels strong but moisturized, and look at this definition. Like, serious definition. Can y'all see that? I'm gonna take out the other side. I usually don't like to leave my hair out, but y'all, it feels so moisturized, like soft, good, nice. Now all I'm gonna do is twist it up for the night and put it away. If you guys feel like you need to have a moisturizing treatment right afterwards, by all means, you can use your moisturizing deep conditioner afterwards. But for me, this is it. This is good, okay? So try some of my suggestions that I mentioned earlier in the video about trying different proteins. And if you have any questions, please leave it down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with any of your friends who are looking for a nice DIY protein treatment and to learn a little bit more about protein. If you have any questions regarding anything, leave it down in the comment section as well. But you guys, that's it for this week. We will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.